Hey everyone, this is Josh with Ayers Valley Farm, and we are out here on a beautiful winter day with cows. We just unrolled some hay, and we thought it would be wise to kind of talk about winter grazing and how we do it. Overall, we cover roughly 260 acres of grass currently, and our herd size ranges from around 100 head up to around 150 head, depending on the time of the year, because we process animals out of the herd. It is a cow-calf herd with stockers and finishers all combined, so we keep everybody together. Bulls are pulled out March 1st. They go back in at the end of July, or well, technically I guess July 1st, sorry. So we try to stay out of the calving window of December through March. But anyways, behind us you'll see everybody's eating. This is the last pass on this area before spring hits. We've unrolled roughly 6 bales in here. This is roughly 3 acres. And you can kind of see some of the residue we're leaving behind. So the goal here is not to eat this completely down, eat all your litter. You could, if you was in a serious pinch, you could eat all this litter. When I say litter, I'm talking about this stuff that's laying on the ground that's creating a nice bed of mulch above the surface. Watch out, guys. Hey, chicken catch. And you can see there's actually green grass shoots underneath this litter. See the bright green stuff? So it's still got a little bit of growth going on there. But anyways, we like to leave that behind when we can. Generally, you should be able to do that as long as you don't have any surprises. But what we do is we take the full 260 acres and we divide that out by the number of days that we're going to be grazing throughout the winter. And by doing that, we look at the allocation that we need per day, and some of that you can tweak based on the amount of forage that's in the area. So say you've got an area that's stockpiled really well, you've got a lot of fescue, a lot of dry mass there, you could slow the cows down in that area to make sure you're consuming more of that stockpile there. And then areas where you have less stockpile or less dry mass, you could speed the cows up there. So you can kind of balance that based on what you have in front of you as far as pasture inventory. But in general, you could do the whole farm, divide it out by the number of days you're going to be stockpiling and strip grazing your stockpile, unrolling around bales. That's what we did this year, just because we couldn't stockpile as well as what we wanted to due to the drought that we had in the fall. But what we'll do is we'll take the number of acres per day that we need. We try to never leave the cows in a given paddock for more than 4 days. And we'll take that 4-day paddock, set it up, and then we'll set it up into the 4 days and take down the poly wire so they get a new strip each time we go to unroll the bale. And the goal with that is by having the cows not on the area more than 4 days, if we get a lot of rainfall, which we do here in Ohio in the winter, it seems like it's mud season more often than a true winter, we don't get a lot of hoof impact that way, and we don't pug the ground up really bad. So that's what works for us here. We are south of I-70, so if you went north of I-70, sorry, they're moving around a little bit behind me. You never know, you gotta keep your eye out. But if you're north of I-70, the ground does freeze up there, and it might be a little bit more difficult to stockpile and do certain things. But the beauty up there is you can maybe switch over to bale grazing or some other methods to carry your herd through the winter. But anyways, like I was saying, so that's how we divide everything up. That's how we know how much to give the cows each day. That's how we know where to strategically place all of our round bales around the farms. And then that's how we know how many bales to unroll in each paddock. And we kind of pace ourselves all the way through the winter. And based on where you're at and what day it is in the winter, you can tell if you're on pace or not, or if you have to speed up for some weather event, then you know you got to slow down later. If you had to feed a few more round bales due to getting stuck with ice, then you could slow down later in another area on the farm where you've got more grass and feed a few less round bales. So you can kind of keep yourself in check and on schedule that way. But what we're leaving behind here will give us a good start to spring. We haven't ate it down too far. and it's still got a nice coverage, so you're not going to have any erosion. And we've been able to not have too much of an impact on this area. What we will do, just as a mitigation to some of the areas where the hay might have been unrolled a little bit thick, is we will frost seed clover at around 3 pounds per acre, coming the middle of February to the first week of March, somewhere in there. We probably won't do the whole farm. We'll just do the areas where we've unrolled the hay, or areas where we might have beat the ground up a little bit more than what we'd like to, and that helps slow down any weed pressure that you have in the spring coming up, with like cockleburs or any undesirables, really. And then other than that, it's just making sure they have water every day. If it's cold, you could be out busting ice. If you've got ball type waterers, you got to make sure they're functioning. And then when you get up above a certain number of cattle, depending on how far away the water is, their behaviors change. So like for us, they've got to walk about 600 feet to water. And it's kind of interesting because that's kind of the borderline about as far as I'd like them to go. But at this point, they've already changed their behavior. They will walk in small groups to drink. So when I say that, I mean, they all want to drink at the same time. So if we just had a 2-ball waterer for 15 cows, they more than likely, not all of them would be able to drink before the first or the more dominant one in the group wants to go back. So the last one may not get to drink as much. So a big thing that we've focused on here is our herd size. Sorry, the cows are playing with the dogs. They're messing with me. As our herd size has grown, we've had to make sure that more cattle can access water at once. And you've got to make sure you've got a good flow rate or a good amount of water there, so you don't drink your water down too far. So that's a couple of things that we've had to do, and that does require us to bust ice or cut ice during those days that it's cold. But other than that, that is part of it, and that's part of running this many cows, unfortunately, into one spot. There are other ways to do it to where your waterers won't frost over, but we just haven't gotten that far, or won't freeze over. We haven't gotten that far, so that's what we're doing, and it works for us. And we will do a video at some point on our different water types and what we've had good success with and what works for us. And that will be something that you can see posted in the future. But if you all have any questions or comments with how we do what we do here, put it in the comments. That gives us ideas for other videos. And then of course, it helps us a ton if you like and subscribe. We greatly appreciate that you're here and you're here with us and you're learning about this kind of stuff. And other than that, we will see you all next time. Take care.